listeners, thank you so much for always tuning into my podcast. Thank you for listening to to episode from episode 1, 2, 3, and now we are in episode 5. If at all you have not listened to or watched episode 1, kindly check it out so that you can have a good flow of this episode on setting boundaries. And in episode 5, we are going to discuss on uh, disadvantages of setting boundaries in life. Remember, guys, in episode 4, we have just talked about importance of setting boundaries. So, however much we have importance of setting boundaries, there are also some disadvantages of setting boundaries, especially when you have unhealthy boundaries. So let us just find out and see what could be these advantages of setting boundaries. So however much we appreciate setting boundaries, in including it has some several benefits. However, setting excessively restrictive and boundaries can also hinder the discovery of new connection. Like for example, just to explain that, yeah, there are some boundaries which are very strict. There are some boundaries which are very destructive. So strict boundaries, they have both advantages and disadvantages, because by being strict it will help you in a way, but by being strict it can also keep some people away from you, and that one we say it is a disadvantage. So just to check what can keep people away, maybe job, through job prospect. The restriction you have might make people lose job or avoid getting jobs. And also education resources might not, people who, a person might want to approach you to assist in education or something like that, but because of your strictness they might end up lose, being free to face you. So some of these disadvantages, I will start by one. Some people get hurt when boundaries are set with them. So setting boundaries is good, but some people get offended. Why? For example, you have a couples and you give some restriction like no touching my devices. Everyone to keep his or her own devices. Person might take it positively that that is okay because it might make me judge. But the other partner might feel offended, feeling that maybe there's something fishy about it, reasons why you don't want them to touch. So this is a disadvantage. Another disadvantage that some boundaries make people feel that they are not close to you. Yeah, like for example, if you are restricted, like you don't your PIN number, yeah, maybe you have your password and you don't want your partner to know about your password, but your partner might feel that maybe he's or not worth or is not close to you, and that's why you are restricted. So such are the disadvantage of setting boundary. Another one is boundary number two. Disadvantage is that you doubt a chance to open up with new people and just in their surrounding. You know, there are people with personal boundaries who do not have who do not like or want direct contact with other people. You see, so those such people who do not have direct contact or who are not social, it's not easy to approach them in case of anything or any assistance. So for that reason, it is a disadvantage. Another one, it's extremely common to feel guilty and other challenges emotions before, during, and after setting boundaries. There are some boundaries that can make somebody feel guilty. Okay, maybe you set your boundaries, and to you they are serving you well, and to you it's like it's restricting somebody. Like for example, a case where we talk of sex boundaries, whereby you tell your partner that of course if for us to get married you have to go for medical test, or for us to get married we have to use protective sex, etc. Your partner, you might feel guilty because you might wonder what your partner is thinking about you. For example, you start asking yourself questions like, whoa, why? Why is he giving me or she is restricting me? Is it that she doesn't trust me? Is it that she's she doubts me or something like that? So you feel guilty. But what I can say, it's when you're setting boundaries, don't feel guilty about your boundaries. So long as it's not, it can help you and it's going to help you keep it on. Another disadvantage is some boundaries may also affect relationship like divorce. Some boundaries might be so strict that may make people to file divorce. For example, if you really love your partner and you want to marry, and you give such boundaries like no sharing of password, you keep your bank accounts private, and so many things. Privacy. No, once you love someone, you have to open up. So such kind of boundaries might cause divorce or uh, affect relationship. One or two people might come out of relationship separating they end up separating their bedrooms or their bed, and also limitation of one without partner more on monitoring about devices. Some boundaries are also violating, such as interfering with someone's duty. That is, if you set a boundary which is uh, violating someone's duty, that is not healthy and that is a disadvantage. Or interfering with someone's efforts or ability to take care of themselves or responsibility. Sounds at disadvantage also we have one that harassing or nagging or arguing. It's also violating because it can bring up an argument over and over again. There is also that one of a risk of losing or hurting someone. There are some boundaries that when you are setting, you fear that maybe it might cause you lose your partner or of someone you love by setting up boundaries. So you might get disappointed or hurt someone by risking or losing them. So when it hurts to set boundaries, take it in account that however boundaries, however how your boundaries may be, it might impact you and care about it. Some boundaries also, they have a reason why setting boundaries sometimes can be hard. Because once you take that scaring step of defining clarifying a boundary, you may be ashamed, criticized, or not be prioritized. Some people feel that when they set boundaries, people will criticize them. You are doing for your own. Remember, this is yourself. You know what you want. So avoid and forget about criticism. Let them criticize you and don't take it personally, just as I said before. And then another thing, poor boundaries may also lead to difficult and dramatic relationship. In cases whereby you are restricting someone to your password of your devices and all that, might end up in argument, and by arguing, you'll end up fighting, and so poor set boundaries might bring drama in your relationship. So you may also find decision making also becomes very difficult, and especially if you keep your things private to your partner. Making decision may be a challenge in your relationship, and that is a disadvantage. And also, some boundaries may make a person to feel fear and feeling low esteem because you sit somewhere and you start asking yourself question, is this person really love me? If he loves me, why put some boundaries? Why is he giving me some boundaries? And there's also some people, when they are set for boundaries, they feel so weak, fastidious, and they are never happy. If you see a couple where people are not smiling, people are not happy, it's just because they fear one another, each other, and they are not free to disclose about their boundaries. So that is also a disadvantage. And another thing is whereby you secretly feel like others do not show you respect. Then you just have that attitude that people do not show you respect when you set boundaries. People want to know how to act around you, and you will be left discreated. So, guys, you might find yourself being passive because of boundaries. So boundaries at times it's challenging. That's why I tell you, read, watch, much and much more on healthy boundaries, on how to set boundaries so that you can end up with healthy boundaries. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Warm welcome, and always keep tuned to Nos J's podcast. Thank you and bye bye.